Pop culture pastor.
Cody, is the donut specifically and strictly a breakfast food, or is it an anytime food?
I would live by the motto, it's an anytime food. I know several people that love breakfast or love it for breakfast, but then I'm also a guy that has breakfast for dinner sometimes, aka Brenner. And
Yeah.
Brenner is great, but every community I've lived in has not had access to good donuts for 24 hours, and I wish they would.
Yeah. So I grew up in Lawrence, and we had Joe's Donuts, and Joe's Donuts would have fresh donuts at about 8 p.m. You go in, they had a sign, a little neon sign that would pop on that you knew they had fresh donuts, and these donuts would melt in your mouth. They were so delicious. And so I became accustomed to donuts being like a dessert. And so it's still kind of weird for me that people will be like, hey, let's get a box of donuts for breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
Because to me, it's just like, well, that's okay. You might as well, I mean, you're like eating a box of candy for breakfast.
Well, some people have cake for breakfast. Some people put cake in a bowl and pour milk over it, which those people are loose cannons.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Like cake cereal? They
Essentially.
they put cake in a bowl and they pour milk into it?
Yeah.
Who does that? I want names. I want a list right now.
I have family members that do it. I don't like it, so.
Well, good for you. That's bonkers.
It is.
That one, there's a special place in heaven where you're cordoned off from the rest of everyone else if you eat cake with milk in it. That's weird. That's kind of wild.
It is wild.
I have never, ever heard of that.
Well.
And I know there's people that haven't heard of that, but right now they're like, I need to try that.
Try it once and then be like, never again.
That doesn't sound like the thing you do once if you ended up liking it.
I did not like it, so.
I knew people that would have ice cream and pour milk on ice cream, and I'm just like, it's literally made out of milk.
Yeah, there's already enough dairy in it. You don't need to add extra dairy.
Yeah, ice cream. That's one of those things that as you get older, it becomes harder to enjoy. in the amounts you want it in, of course.
It's a young man's game.
It is a young man's game. Good afternoon and welcome to Pop Culture Pastor. And hopefully you're feeling okay. Maybe you didn't have ice cream at 11:30 at night,
or have a bowl of cake in milk.
That's still a weird one. Yeah. Anyways, welcome. We talk about things. Stick around. We play music as well.
Yes, we do.
So imagine, Cody, that you were living in the wilds of British Columbia. That's Canada.
That is Canada.
I know British is in the title, but it's technically West Canada.
Sadly, this is nowhere near the French part of Canada.
No, they're completely different parts of Canada. Canada's actually a very big place.
It is a monstrosity of a nation.
And we love our neighbors to the north.
We do.
And they're so kind, and they just want to give you donuts and coffee.
And maple syrup.
Yeah. And, yeah, we will take that donuts. If is there any Canadians that live here, transplants? Because we could use some donuts at the station right now.
Donuts and maple syrup. I don't need the coffee.
I'm mad hungry, and I got a sweet tooth. Not unlike bears. Bears can also be pretty mad hungry and have a sweet tooth. And sometimes in British Columbia, apparently, bears will break into your car.
They better not.
Well, they did to Sharon Rosell. On April 13th, Sharon was awakened to her hunting dog barking outside at 3 a.m. There was a black bear outside her home, And then she realized it broke into her vehicle, which that's not usual bear behavior.
No.
But it was trying to get at something. As it turns out, she had many cases of pop. Nearly 6 cases of pop in the back of her car. She operates a food truck.
Oh, okay.
So it makes sense, because that was my first. The look on your face was the same look I had reading. It's like, why do you have 6 cases of pop in your car?
Bring it in, lady. And why are you buying so much pop at once?
Now, if you're a bear and
Yes.
you're breaking into a car with pop in it, cases of pop, like what is motivating you to break into a car? So the bear had to break the glass.
That sweet nectar of life.
Right.
Known as-
What flavor of pop are you breaking into the car for?
Most flavors of Mountain Dew are acceptable to break in for. Voltage. Oh, I would be all jacked up on that Mountain Dew if I was a bear.
That's a different kind of movie.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew bear. He's all jacked up on Mountain Dew. And it would make sense in the mountains and in the foresty areas of Western Canada. But that is not the brand of pop.
I'm hoping it's not Shasta Cola.
Is Shasta even a thing anywhere but Middle America?
I hope not.
Is the old generic soda. Is Shasta even out there anymore? I can't remember the last time I saw it.
I don't know, but somewhere there must be a vestige.
I'm telling you what, many a day in young Dave's life were made great by Shasta. The old generic sodas that you could buy, and you could the way they had it in the stores, they had the 12-pack boxes where you could like mix and match, like if you wanted to get a whole bunch of different flavors of the Shasta.
Strawberry and root beer.
Yes. Now they have, like, Walmart doesn't have the Shasta. They have their own Walmart brand, and you can get like Dr. Thunder.
No, thank you.
What's the Mountain Dew one? Mountain something.
Mountain Lightning.
Mountain Lightning.
No.
A little thunder, a little lightning.
No, thank you.
That is imitation junk. And we need the real thing. Anyways, depending on the part of the country you're in, that could have been Faygo or many other different generic pop brands that I've heard of. That I think it's depending on the area you grew up in.
I'll trust you.
So this lady is woke up at 3 a.m. out there in British Columbia. I'm assuming it's near Vancouver because, like, why would you be living anywhere else?
I don't know.
And she's got a food truck, so she had 6 cases of pop stored in her car of Orange Crush. Why? I don't know.
That's a lot of Orange Crush.
Apparently, Canadians love the Orange Crush.
You know who loves orange soda?
Black-
Kel loves orange soda.
Black bears. This black bear did because it broke into her car and drank nearly 6 cases of pop, 69 of the 72 cans.
That's a lot of cans.
And the claim is that it drank them, that it didn't spill them, it drank them. Listen, you think she would have learned this? She usually leaves the food inside her vehicle and locks it because it's safe there. Because one time a goldfish cracker got stuck in the folds of her grandchild's car seat, and the bear broke in for that. Well, why did you think the Orange Crush was going to be safe? Also,
this has happened multiple times?
Also, what? These are not bears. They're cyborgs. Get out of there. They break into cars for goldfish crackers. That's not a place where humans should live.
No.
That sounds awful. The bear drank 69 of the 72 cans of pop, leaving behind the 3 diet pops.
Yeah.
Even the bears don't drink aspartame. Does that tell you something?
Tells me all I need to know.
It's not good for you. The bear's like, why would you drink that? That's not edible.
It's going to cause cancer.
Roselle said it seemed to prefer the Orange Crush flavor, which the bear dripped all over her white leather seats. Let me get this straight. A bear has broke into your car before for a goldfish cracker, and you thought it was a good idea to leave 6 cases of Orange Crush in your car with your leather seats?
Oh.
The fix is in. I think she wanted this to happen because now she's making headlines.
And now her food truck is internationally known.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Also, I'm never moving to British Columbia.
Well, I mean, the NBA had that basketball team in Vancouver, the Grizzlies.
Yeah, it made sense there. Now
did.
they're the Memphis Grizzlies, and it doesn't make any sense.
None at all.
None. It's like Utah Jazz.
Makes no sense.
In Utah, where they don't allow music or dance. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are.
No one does.
Okay, so yesterday we talked here on the program about the taco war, the impending taco war.
And I'm not here for the Taco John's hatred that's flowing.
Oh, I don't say there's hatred.
I feel there is among some.
Taco Bell, they did file a real
Lawsuit.
a real petition or whatever you want to call it. But it was full of like witty, like they were clearly having fun with it to the patent office. And they basically want a 1989 trademark by Taco John's of the phrase Taco Tuesday reversed.
Do you know what happened in 1989?
Please tell me what happened in 1989, Cody.
I was born.
No,
And
you don't say.
And then Taco John's decided, let's make Taco Tuesday a realistic thing. Not saying it is a causation or anything, but
It's a correlation.
But it could be really perfect timing. Who knows?
Real talk, though, I feel like both Taco John's and Taco Bell are not as good as they used to be. Why is that?
Maybe your taste buds have matured.
No, how dare you put this on me? How dare you, sir? Taco John's, anyways, the reason I was bringing this up is Taco John's has responded to the litigation request by Taco Bell, and they have announced a 2 for $2 Taco Tuesday deal, thanking Taco Bell for, quote, reminding everyone that Taco Tuesday is best celebrated at Taco John's.
Yeah.
So we're back to dollar tacos. Remember yesterday I said I will rule in favor of whichever taco joint gives me the best deal. This is a good step. 2 for $2. We're back to $1 per taco. That hasn't happened in a while.
Now you can get 10 tacos.
But see what Taco Bell, we should all be thanking Taco Bell for what they've done.
Well, keep your Fiesta potatoes all year round.
I don't even know what those are. Those are the Taco Bell thing, right?
Yeah.
That nobody ordered except for you, apparently.
Well, they bring it back because people ordered it. But they're trying to make rib everything, and no, stop it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Still no word on my, well, you know what? We'll just save that.
We will.
We'll save that. We're due for a review of the best idea I've ever had. All right, welcome back to the show. I'm here with my wife, Danielle, who is my co-host for the day. And she's looking at me like she's in pain. Are you okay?
Yeah, I am now. I'm trying to hold back a sneeze.
Oh, yeah.
But since I talked about it, it went away.
Yeah, when you're on the radio, that always happens. You've got to hold that sneeze in, no matter what damage it may do to your internal organs.
I could possibly break some speakers with a sneeze.
I've broken a few ribs doing the radio. According to a Pew Research Center survey conducted earlier this year, more than 8 in 10 U.S. adults say spending time with family provides them a great deal or quite a bit of meaning and fulfillment. And it was the number one thing when asked what brings meaning and fulfillment to your life. And it was unanimous between like conservatives and liberal people. That was the number one thing, spending time with family. And I thought, well, yeah,
It's beautiful.
it's, isn't that the meaning of life? The meaning of life is to have people you're close to. And not to get too, pastory or pastoral. Pastory is not a word. But
It can be if you want it to.
you can make a pretty good case that we're literally made for connection. You can't live a life alone that's harmful to you. In fact, our go-to torture, when we want to torture someone, when we want to really punish them, what we do is we put them in solitary confinement. That's the harshest thing we've been able to come up with as human beings to break somebody. Is to throw them in a hole with nobody else in there with them until they break. And so we understand that connection is a part of it. And I just wanted to talk about this because there's some interesting things here that are discussed in this study. So spending time with your loved ones and family was the most important thing. Being outdoors and experiencing nature was number 2. Spending time with friends was number 3. Volunteer work was in the top 5, and meditating was in the top 6. But there's one right in the middle. The weird thing about all those things is the difference between conservative and liberal ideologies. There wasn't one. They were pretty much even. But there was one thing in the top 6 where they differed on. You know what that one might be? It would be faith. Asking someone what was the most meaningful and fulfilling thing in your life, there was one category out of 6 where they differed as far as progressive and conservative, and that was faith. And I want to talk about that in particular. I want you to hold on to that information, and we'll talk about that when we come back. So there's this study we're talking about from Pew Research Center where they asked people, what is the meaning of life, essentially? What is the most meaningful and fulfilling thing in your life? And pretty much on every answer, there was no split in ideology, political ideology. So liberal people and conservative people basically said across the board the same things: spending time with loved ones and family, being outdoors and experiencing nature, spending time with friends, volunteer work, meditating. Those were all on the list. Those were like the top 5 of the top 6. The one that is most wildly inconsistent was faith, their religious faith. That's the one where way more conservative people added that answer to theirs and less liberal people. And what I find really fascinating about this, Danielle, is that we're so much more alike than we think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We value the same exact things except for faith.
Right.
Isn't that wild?
It is.
That's wild to think about it, because if you would just look out in the world today, you have 2 sides that think their ideologies are wildly different. And yet we place value on the exact same things.
I mean, it is wild, and yet it's not. I mean, God created us all to, the whole reason that God created human beings was to worship and glorify him, right? And so it makes sense that we all have great similarities, with the exception that some of us have placed our faith in him and some of us have not.
Isn't it interesting that it always comes down to the origin?
Mm-hmm.
Like, actually, we agree on most things.
Mm-hmm.
We have a general morality that runs through us, that comes from somewhere. We just disagree about where everything comes from.
Right.
So you have a group of people who largely in growing numbers don't want anything to do with what we think it is, the origin wise. And then you have the conservative group who largely thinks the origin is from an intelligent designer, if you will, a creator. And that's the thing that divides us the most, is where everything came from.
Right.
Not what we see and what we feel now.
And what we think is right and wrong, even a lot of times. I mean, there is some of that, but...
Yeah, we differ on how to bureaucrat our way through it, right? We differ on political things, which is basically how we want to dictate how we each other's lives. But really, we value the exact same things. And I find that very interesting. I find it interesting that the value of, we get that the most important thing and the most fulfilling thing we will do is the time that we spend with loved ones. And to me, this is wildly fascinating, because if this is the one thing that's keeping us apart, shouldn't this improve our relations? Like, we're living in the most polarized time ever in our country, where you have literally both sides kind of pointing at the other side saying they're evil. And yet we value the exact same things. What this survey is telling us is like, oh, by the way, we're all kind of valuing the same thing. We just have this framework. We're basically arguing over the framework of how to get there. When in actuality, we're arguing over basically nothing. Because then we attach all these bad things to the way we want to run, our country. We attach on, when really all it is just a different way to run it. Now, there's pros and cons with everything, because we're humans and we're broken. So, there's different ways that brokenness can invade any system. And we've kind of proven that with all our forms of government. Like, people like to say that, well, capitalism's the best way because we tried communism and socialism, but those don't really work because the systems break down. But I think if you're being honest, you can see that capitalism sort of is breaking down too here, that it's not a fair system. It's maybe the most fair system we've come up with.
Right.
Like, it holds off, I wouldn't even say the most fair. It holds off human brokenness the longest. But I think if we're being honest, it's like, no, on paper, there's really nothing wrong with socialism. It's actually a good idea. The problem is us.
Right. The problem is the people involved in it.
It's always us.
Yeah.
Because we're broken. But instead of looking at the differences in how we're broken, which is what we usually do, my brokenness looks different than your brokenness. It presents in different ways. And then we can look at each other, and we like to do that. We like to compare those things because I feel a little more righteous if I say, my brokenness doesn't seem as bad as your brokenness.
Exactly.
Instead of looking at our brokenness, we can look at something like this study and say, oh, by the way, the things we want, the things we intrinsically know are the most fulfilling and valuable, we agree on. Pretty much across the board. Yeah. Except for one thing, which is who gave us these feelings? Who gave us these beliefs? You either believe that there was a God that gave us these values, or you don't. And that seems to be the one thing that really divides us. So every once in a while, we'll come across a story like this. And this kind of freaks me out a little bit, because this must happen a lot. And maybe it happens a lot. We don't really know about it. When a meteorite hits somewhere, I mean, like, not a big one, like small ones.
Yeah.
So a family in New Jersey said they're thankful that everyone is safe after an apparent meteorite crashed through their roof on Monday afternoon. According to a statement released by the Hopewell Police Department there in New Jersey, a metallic object believed to be a meteorite struck the roof of a ranch-style home. The oblong object, which police described as being about 4 inches by 6 inches, so yeah, it's not huge, went through the roof and ceiling of the home before it impacted the hardwood floor and came to a stop. So it went through the roof.
Crazy.
Like, can you even imagine that?
That's crazy.
But it must happen.
Yeah.
That's wild. They said it felt warm to the touch.
Well, sure it did. Oh my goodness, of course.
I
would have thought it would have been hot to the touch.
This is you're going to get a little window into my soul here, because I used to think Murphy's Law. You know Murphy's Law. If something bad can happen, it will happen.
Yeah.
I used to think that was my life. And if I'd have read a story like this when I was younger, it'd have been like, I know how I die. I'm going to get hit in the head by a meteorite, and just right there on the spot, I'll be gone. That's how it's going to happen, because the odds of that must be astronomical. Like, literally.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yes, that's a good one.
Astronomy. Yeah. But So if one flies through the roof of your house, now, first of all, do they get to sell this meteorite? Seems like when people find these things, they're worth money, right?
Or did the police steal it from them? Like,
well, went through their home. They should be able to keep it.
I would think so, but
yeah. What would be worse is like
I've seen too many movies.
Actually, this is if it's not warm to the touch, if it's cold to the touch, be like, actually, this is not a meteorite. It's a frozen collection of waste from an airplane. That's the bad kind of meteorite. But
that's the kind that would fall on your house.
That's the kind that would fall on my head and kill me. I know, right? The 13-year-old me is like, absolutely. But yeah, this is interesting. I'm gonna read deeper into this article so I can figure out if they get to keep the meteorite or not. Nobody got hurt, but when Susie Kopp, that was her name, the lady that lives there and her family, she said when she got home she touched it. Because, I mean, it was a weird thing. She thought someone threw it.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Someone would have had to have a heck of an arm to throw it through your ceiling there, Susie. But,
well, you're probably not expecting a meteorite, though. Like,
no.
In fairness.
Although, man, if I get home, there's a rock on my floor with debris around it from the ceiling it came through. That would have been my first thought. That's a meteorite smashed through the ceiling.
I would have thought it was an alien baby.
I can't believe it didn't hit me in the head. But she said it felt warm. There was no they tested it out, and there's no lingering substances or effects, no radiation, anything like that. And then they went to help to get maybe some expert opinion. Derek Pitts, the chief astronomer at the Franklin Institute, told CBS Philadelphia that this object could be billions of years old.
Oh, of course.
This is always, to be honest, I love doing these kind of stories on a Christian radio station, like talking to Christians, because I can almost hear them grumbling. Grumble, 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 grumble. Like, okay, he's a scientist. Let him think what he thinks, and we'll let you think what you think. And then I'll remind you that no one really knows how old the universe is. No one knows. Because it doesn't it doesn't literally say that in the Bible. It doesn't say the earth is this many years old. It doesn't say that.
Right.
Okay. I know.
You're going to be getting some emails.
I know. We all think we have it figured out. My whole point is I don't have it figured out. And I'm not trying to figure that out because I don't think it's important.
Yeah.
All right. He goes on, Derek. He says, could be as old as the solar system itself. Okay, we can agree on that, right?
Sure.
He should have led with that. But he said that the object could be connected to an ongoing meteor shower called the Eta Aquarids, an event related to Halley's Comet that is visible from mid-April to late May and usually peaks around May 5th each year. Huh. The police said the investigation remains ongoing.
Wait, what are they investigating?
We're investigating space and stuff.
We got 3 guys on it.
What are you? Yeah, we got a guy down in Vice. He's working on it. He's analyzing the rock. He's got it sitting on his desk, using it to hold down a bunch of papers. Like what? The investigation's ongoing. Get out of here, New Jersey PD.
I want to go work for them.
We're checking it out. We're running it through some systems, showing it to the guy at the drive-thru at the Taco Bell, seeing what he thinks.
They don't eat any donuts at that police department.
They eat all the donuts.
It's all business.
It's all business down there at the in the New Jersey Police Department. But yeah, so no indication of whether they get to cover it. But if scientists think that it's 1 billion years old, then surely someone would pay good money for that for them, and they should be able to have it. Like, there's no ownership of it. It came from space.
Yeah, it landed in their property.
Yeah.
I feel like they should get to keep it.
I do too.
I hope they do.
And
I hope they sell it to the Natural History Museum for.
And now, if they sell it for a couple $100,000 to some scientists who want to study it, now I'm just like, come on, God, why can't a meteorite land in my house?
I'd be like, I'll sell it for as many dollars as years you think it is old.
I don't think they're not going to go for that deal. I don't think. So yesterday, Cody, Vice Media Group officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
No.
Wait, okay, so you're a lover of Vice.
So I wouldn't go lover of Vice. They do have some interesting shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they did the Dark Side of the Ring stuff, and that is like just fascinating. So they take like either events in wrestling or people in wrestling and show you the behind the scenes and the dark tales that no one wants to talk about.
Yeah. Well, Vice was known for kind of giving their journalists freedom to write on and show whatever they wanted, and they would embed themselves into these worlds, which is how journalism kind of used to be. But you'd have stories about interesting things, maybe, like CNN ain't going to go do a story on the dark side of the pro wrestling,
They missed out. That's a gravy train.
But this company was once chances are if you watch YouTube and you like, news featurettes and stuff, you've probably seen something done by Vice, once valued at $5 billion. And they declared for bankruptcy yesterday. Is this just a sign of the continued dying of journalism?
I think that since Vice poured out a ton of their resources into being a television station, it might be more a sign of
wait, they did what now?
Well, I mean, it's a station. Like
it's
a channel. It's a channel.
Really? Why did they do that?
Vice TV. Yeah.
TV's dying.
Well,
it's all about streaming.
Well, you can probably stream it, but it's on Hulu Live or was.
Well, that's ridiculous.
If you have a channel, I think that unless you are owned by some big parent company that's too big to fail, you could go this way.
Yeah.
And also Vice, most people that worked at Vice definitely had a political bent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so
it invaded even there.
So I would say that it's not shocking.
Yeah. That's a misunderstanding of what it is that makes you popular. So Vice was popular, but them trying to start their own streaming, channel, their own channel that they can put on Hulu or whatever. That's a misrepresentation of what actually people like about you. And so the average viewer has probably seen a Vice news report on something like you said, the wrestling thing.
Dark Side of the Ring.
But the average viewer doesn't want to watch just any old Vice report. It has to be on a category or something they're interested in.
Well, they had their own shows. Like they would have, what's his name, Desus and Miro.
Yeah,
they had their show that would come on a couple times a day, and they'd have.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's totally not understanding why people liked you. We don't need you to produce your own shows. That's not what we want. There's too many of those. There's too many channels. Keep doing the news work, and when putting them on YouTube. That's where I came to know Vice, was YouTube.
Basically, that's MTV's model. Is so they have 150 million episodes of ridiculousness, and there's days that I'm not joking, I saw a report 17 hours a day that they're showing ridiculousness back to back to back to back, and it's because they're trying to get the younger demographic who likes YouTube videos, and ridiculousness is like Tosh.0. It was just YouTube videos and people commenting and doing commentary on the YouTube video.
There's no way MTV makes money now, right?
Well, not off music.
They make money, though?
Oh.
Do people still watch that?
They watch ridiculousness.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. That's so sad. Hey everybody, Dave here. What you have just listened to are bits and pieces of our radio show. We have a radio show on KFEX Firescape Radio, located in Chanute, Kansas. You can hear that show from noon to 4 every weekday. So if you want to tune into that, you can go to www.kfex931.com, or you can search KFEX in your app store on your smartphone and find their totally free app there. If you're a fan of Christian music, you might like to listen to our live show when you're at work, or if you're a stay-at-home mom and you like music in the house, you may love to listen to that during the day. So give it a try. We would also direct you to our podcast, Pop Culture Pastor. That's probably why you're listening anyways to this version of what we do. As always, subscribe to the podcast, follow us on our social medias on Facebook and Twitter. It helps us out when you share it, when you review and rate us on our podcast homes. And of course, follow us on social media and share our stuff there. So thank you so much for listening. We love all of you guys so much. We have such a great community of listeners, and we'll see you when the regular pod drops on Friday.